Hello everybody, my name is Passy Bun Bun. I am an adult age regressor that talks about age regression related things with other adults. This is an 18 or older account, even though I do everything safe for work here. I please do not want kids in my coping space. I could go back and fix that stutter, but I don't really care right now. I do care about the voiceover and I do care about the video, but I want to get this done in a timely manner, and I've already taken way too long on this, and I feel like I always take way too long for videos to come out, especially for the paid your character sheets that I do, and I don't want people to be waiting when they've paid me for something. I did a poll on my Twitter, and I was going to do whatever ended up winning the poll, but it was kind of a tie, so I ended up putting everything on one of those wheels, and just like I do the usual raffles and stuff, and it ended up landing on childhood memories, so I'm gonna be talking about my past today. That sounds really, really ominous. I didn't mean it like that. I just mean that a lot of these stories are very, very not, I wouldn't say embarrassing, but more odd. Like, why did I do any of this stuff? I don't know. My brain doesn't really work all that well. I have a little list of things that I remember from my childhood that I feel like would be silly enough to put into a video, and I'm just gonna go down the list and see how many I can get into this. The first one I put down was during a field day on the last day of school in elementary school. I'm not sure if other countries do this, but in America, usually the last day of school is like this big celebration where there's sometimes bouncy houses and face painting and dancing and food, and it's really, really nice and it's really fun. It's like the best day of the year for a big reward on the last day of school for doing all of the good work that you've done. I was in either kindergarten or first grade, I don't really remember, but I was really, really, really into Spider-Man when I was younger, as most other little boys are. And as a young trans man, I really, really didn't want to be labeled as Spider-Girl, because at the time I thought that Spider-Girl was lesser than Spider-Man, which if we're actually thinking about it in the bigger picture, Spider-Woman and Spider-Girl are definitely a lot more cool, I would say, than Spider-Man. Spider-Man's a nerd and he knows it. But that's okay, because I'm also a nerd, and I also know it. But I was having my time, and we ended up having face painting before we went to the bounce houses. So I did what any other Spider-Man obsessed little boy would do, and I got Spider-Man face paint, and I was really feeling myself. I felt like I was so powerful. That's all well and good, and that would be great for any other kid, but I don't know, I felt like I needed to compensate for literally everything, so I ended up doing something kind of embarrassing, but I like to laugh at it now. So, my face all done up as Spider-Man, feeling real good, feeling really cool. I end up going to the next activity, which was the bounce houses. And oh boy, what did they have for little me? A Spider-Man inflatable obstacle course. I was so excited. I was jumping for joy. I was rolling over. I was doing backflips. I was screaming. I wasn't actually doing any of that. I just thought that would be funny. But I was like jumping up and down and stimming, and I was so excited. But as luck would have it, I had to stay in line like every other kid and wait my turn. And I did not enjoy that. So, I ended up using my time to watch the other kids and see what their technique was. I was sitting there running in and out of line, having my friends save it for me so that I could run along the side of it and watch everybody go through the obstacle course through the windows, the little mesh window thingies. I really thought that I was breaking down the secrets of the Olympics or something, and I was like packing into the potential of all humans. I felt like me watching all the other boys and girls run through it and make mistakes, that I would end up not making the mistakes, and I could do everything that they didn't do, and I would win and everybody would clap. Can you tell I was a little bit delusional as a kid? So after all of this observing, it's finally my turn, and I feel really ready and super confident. I mean, who else has their face done up like the hero on the side of the bounce house. Nobody but me, so I felt super duper special over it. In my mind, nothing could get in the Spider-Man's way, and I was the Spider-Man. The funny thing is, I don't even remember who I was racing against, because there were 2 sections in it, and everybody would end up racing at least one person. I don't actually remember who I was racing, which is weird because I remember a lot of stuff like that. I guess I was just so dead set on being determined on winning that I didn't care who I was going up against. I hear the chaperone say go, and I pushed myself off of the little tube thingy, and I could not feel the ground beneath me. I was going so fast that at one point when I was going up and down the slide part, I was going on all 4s on high speeds. I was jumping over all of the little pushy things. I was jumping over all of the, I don't even know what to call them, cylinders? The little cylinder punching bag things that you have to run through. There was a part where there was little bungee cords that made it into webs that you had to crawl through, and I was just blasting through that because I was a pretty small kid. And then it was like I was dying. I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. I could feel the bounciness of the person behind me. Behind me. I was winning. I was so confident. I was so happy. I was going so fast. I felt like the wind. And then, to my dismay, my foot got caught. I tripped. I saw my life flash before my eyes. And then I saw the person I was racing run by me. And my whole world was shattered. And then I proceeded to sob because Spider-Man never loses, and because I lost, that doesn't mean I'm Spider-Man, and my teacher had to come and comfort me. Now that I'm thinking about it, this was 1st grade. That was my 1st grade teacher who did that. I think that my favorite part about this story isn't even me dying and falling and having a horrible ridiculousness moment, was the fact that the moment that I saw that after the bounce houses, we got to go to the little ice cream truck that was parked in the parking lot, all of a sudden, nothing mattered to me. All of my Spider-Man face paint was smudged and tear-streaked and just everywhere. It did not look like Spider-Man anymore. But that didn't matter because I could get a Spider-Man ice cream from the ice cream truck. And all was well in the world. The next thing that I wrote down, I feel like is a little bit of a universal experience for a lot of kids, for some reason. But I shoved a Barbie shoe up my nose, and then I had to go to the hospital to get the Barbie shoe shoved out of my nose, and yeah, that's it for that story, basically. There was no thought process, it was just small thing, going nose, apparently. This next one also is probably absolutely not a unique experience, but maybe it went a little bit further than the average person. I played Webkinz like many others in my generation and before. I say that like Webkinz been around since the dawn of time. You guys know what I mean. But I, again, like many others, got Webkinz for Christmas. And this was the first year that I had ever gotten Webkinz for Christmas, so I was extra super excited, and I was so excited to go onto the computer and immediately type them in, but then there was an error message, and I couldn't log in. And I know other Webkinz fans know exactly what I am talking about right now, with the website just being way too heavily trafficked at this time because it's Christmas morning. But I had watched way too many action movies, and to me, I just got my Webkinz account, or the entire website was hacked. I knew about hackers, and I knew about stranger danger from all the PSAs at school and all the teachers telling us all the time, so I was really scared, and I thought that I was in the movies now. I thought that I had to be a double agent or something like that and end up looking into things and finding the hacker inside the computer, because when I was little, for some reason, I thought that whenever somebody was messing with your computer, they were actually inside of it. But that's besides the point. I was convinced that somebody or something was gonna harm my webkins, and I could not have that, despite the fact that half the time I would be playing the games and decorating my house and not feeding my webkins, and they would be just sitting there sad at me, and then I would have to take them to Dr. Quack's office. But we don't need to talk about how little tiny elementary school me dealt with the webkins' health. All I needed to know is how could I get into my account to add another webkin? My army of 4 webkins. I ran upstairs with a fury and ran up to my mom and was like, Mom, help, my webkins, they're hacked. She just kind of looked at me a little bit glazed over for a minute. It was still really early in the morning and she didn't know what her child was running up to her so frantically about. But I think she heard the term webkin and she was like, oh, well, what's wrong with your things? Is something wrong with it? Is the code not working? I feel like I was shaking with fear and anger and betrayal from this mystery hacker at this point. And I was just screaming over and over, my webkins are hacked! My webkins are hacked! Over and over. Eventually, my mom realized what I was trying to spit out at her and realized that maybe she should go check the computer just in case that there's anything weird happening. So she looks at the computer and she ends up seeing the error message, and I don't know if she read it wrong or if she didn't read it fully or just skimmed it, but at first she believed me 100%, and she started freaking out too and was like, hey, did you tell anybody your information? Did you tell anybody your name? Did you do this? Did you do that? And I was starting to panic even more now because, oh my goodness, this is actually happening. Somebody stole my account. Somebody hacked in. It's gonna be the end of the world now. How am I gonna play games and not feed my webkins now? And then she looked at it for more than 5 seconds and also could read the whole English language unlike I could, and informed me that no, the website was just way too heavily trafficked. There was just too many people on there because it's Christmas morning, and probably almost every other kid also is on webkins at this second right now. And I felt kind of dumb after that. And then I was more angry than anything because I had to wait like 2 days to end up putting my webkins in, just repeatedly refreshing the page and hoping. Possibly the last one that I'm going to talk about here is one that I think about almost every day still, and it's still really, really silly to me and kind of brain rotted of me and my friend at the time. So this one, once again, has to do with webkins, but we were not anywhere near the actual website. It was just kind of on our minds all the time. Me and my best friend growing up were huge webkin lovers, and we were always thinking about it, like I just said. And as we were hanging out and making a Mii on the Nintendo Wii Mii Maker, which is very hard to say when you're putting your voice up really high and you also have a stutter and a stumble with your word speech, but oh well, I think that probably came out correctly. We were playing the Wii, making a Mii, and then we see something moving across the screen that isn't usually there. And we walk up to the TV to get a closer look, and it is a big ant, like the insect, an ant. Without skipping a beat, without thinking about the realisticness of the thought, we both looked at each other and we said basically in unison, Webkin's prize, and immediately trying to click on the living ant that was somehow in the screen. It was one of those really, really big box TVs, and I don't know how he got in. Maybe there was like a hole in the speaker and he ended up crawling in there and then just crawling around on the inside of the TV. I didn't have a dirty house growing up, far from it. If anything, it was a little bit too clean sometimes, but I just don't know how that guy got in there. We stood there for like 10 minutes or so, just trying to click on it and genuinely thinking that it was a part of the game somehow, and it was somehow this new thing that they added into the Mii channel and that we were gonna receive this wonderful prize. But then eventually, reality set in because we weren't that dumb enough to still think that it was a prize for 10 minutes, but we eventually figured it out and we realized that maybe we should not just keep doing that. Maybe we should do something about it, but we didn't know what. So I ended up calling my mom into the room, and she saw it, and then she didn't know what to do with it either. So all three of us just kind of stood there and watched the ant run around the screen until he eventually stopped, and I think maybe it gotten burned or overheated and just kind of stood there. I think my parents had to come in and get somebody to clean out the inside of the screen on the TV, but I really don't remember. I just remember thinking that it was a Webkinz prize. I think I have time for a really, really short one really quickly. Basically, in kindergarten, a girl made me a Play-Doh piece of food. It was a little hot dog thingy. It was green and pink because we didn't have the correct colors for a hot dog. And because I thought that she was pretty, I tried to impress her and I ate it. And then she never talked to me after that again because I ate the Play-Doh food that she gave me in front of her. And I think about that sometimes because that was really dumb of me. I actually ate Play-Doh quite a few times as a kid. I don't know what my fixation was, but I would eat Play-Doh quite often, and it would constantly have to be taken away from me. I used to just eat a lot of things that weren't necessarily edible when I was a child. I would just eat grass and eat sand and all of that. Maybe that's why I'm not that intelligent, honestly. That all kind of makes sense. And as I'm finishing this last character, I hope that everybody has a wonderful week. I'm so sorry for the wait on this video. I know as I'm doing this voiceover right now, I'm gonna have to also edit it, and I know that's gonna take even more time. And I'm really, really sorry about that. I've been going in and out of the hospital and doctor's appointments, and I really hope that I can get better with the schedule soon. Thank you for watching.